We hear daily from our members who hear from their loved ones about conditions over there, including everything from insufficient food and water to the lack of equipment, the Kevlar vest with the ceramic plates, the Humvees that don't have protective doors. We hear from our families about troops that are being deployed who have both physical and or mental health conditions and are being judged fit for duty because this war needs more than certainly the 45,000 troops that Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz and others were saying we could fight this techno war with. We hear about the horrors of patrolling streets, and you see some motion.
Confidence. You feel vulnerable, you feel weak, and you're worrying about your vulnerability instead of worrying about how you can defeat the enemy. And the military needs to be sure that when they roll somebody into combat, they've got the best possible protection and weaponry available. This is the most powerful nation on earth. There's no excuse for sending guys in harm's way and girls in harm's way without the absolute best equipment.
I just heard recently that over 30% of our casualties were from body armor, protective vehicles that they're riding in. This is insane. You gotta ask, what's going on here?
My son was killed by an RPG. He was driving a Humvee and they were hit from the left. And it was violent. So much of the money, so much of the resources is
figure out that the reasons we were there for weren't what we were told. We knew, despite what was in the papers, that we were told to protect the oil fields first and not the people. We knew that the Iraqi people had been promised things that we couldn't deliver to them, and we knew that the Iraqis were mad because of that.
We'll approach Baghdad. The dagger is
of Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz, essentially on how large the invading force should be. The U.S. Army, which wanted a force about twice as big as what went in there, didn't think it needed all these extra soldiers to beat Saddam Hussein's army. It thought it needed them to be able to do a safe and effective and controllable job of occupying the country. They wanted more people to prevent looting and to seal the border. The U.S. went in with the minimum force. It was enough to win the war, but not to win peace.
I think soldiers are pissed off by the fact that more of America isn't stepping up. And while we're over there, our families aren't being taken care of properly back home. We need to do a better job of treating our troops well when they're over there and taking care of our families that are back home.
They have You've heard the stories of how people have been warehoused, for God's sake, in barracks that don't even have, in some cases, toilets in them. You have to use, different facilities for that. It's just incredible. The intimidation to silence the grievances of these troops is absolutely unacceptable, because we've been around this track before. We've seen this happen in the past. And that's why
paid. We're supposed to do with them. You're not getting paid. We didn't get paid for 2 months. Why wasn't that taken care of, planned for?
We had to actually get Congress involved. It's like the 4th time since our deployment to get things fixed for myself and other soldiers. It was a big mess.
They're fumbling to try and find, a way to give voice to the abuses that they've been subjected